Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. Chennai is drowning 6 years after the infamous 2015 floods. It seems like nothing has changed. It seems like no lessons have been learned. So much so, the Madras High Court recently pulled up the Chennai Corporation asking, what have you guys done for the last 6 years? Politically speaking, the new DMK government is blaming the previous AIADMK government, saying they have eaten up all the smart city funds. At the end of the day, the truth of the matter is this. The arm resident of Chennai is the one who is paying the price. Who is responsible for Singara Chennai becoming sinking Chennai?
A depression over the Bay of Bengal, torrential rains, a flooded city, 14 dead.
We are seeing gusty winds with the speed of more than 40 kilometers per hour. The impact of the wind can be seen from the top angle view which we have right now. We are here standing on top of lighthouse.
The boats are out in Chennai. A city of 11 million is underwater. 444 locations are flooded.
You can see the visuals of people boarding inside this particular boat where we're standing right now.
Here, inside a hospital ward in South Chennai, the staff valiantly tries to clear up the water that keeps gushing in as rains continue.
This hospital here in KK Nagar is also flooded. The waters have entered the wards. You can see that the officials, the staff members here are trying to clear the water. There is a pump set which is trying to drain out the water.
In homes located in low-lying areas, the same battle is underway. The water had started creeping in at 2 a.m. in the morning. In some places, it is up almost 3 feet.
As you can see, waterlogged roads have really been the more prevailing picture, especially in the last few days when the flood has really been at its worst.
Cars have been parked on top of flyovers to save them from drowning. There is no electricity or internet for the last 2 days. Schools and colleges are shut. Wind speeds and heavy rains have halted flight arrivals at the airport till 6 p.m. It is that sinking feeling Chennai is rapidly getting used to.
Every rainy season, we are facing this problem.
6 years ago, these were the exact same scenes that had played out in Tamil Nadu's capital. More than 500 people had been killed, 18 lakh were displaced, the losses had run into billions. Why is Chennai waterlogged for the 5th straight day and drowning again? Well, the rain gods are partly to be blamed. It has been raining incessantly since Saturday. Chennai has registered 74 centimeters of rain, that is in excess of 77% since the monsoon season began on October 1st. But angry and desperate residents are blaming authorities, saying that the 8,835 stormwater drains in the city weren't cleared up despite repeated reminders. Desilting work that should wrap up before the monsoons begin is still pending. That is crores of public money down the drain.
All right, I want to first go across to Purnima Murli, who's joining us live from Ashok Nagar, yet another low-lying area in Chennai, which has been waterlogged for the better part of the last 4 or 5 days. What is the situation now there? I see the water levels are receding just a bit. The rain has also stopped, but still, it will take perhaps days for things to get back to a semblance of normalcy.
Well, rains have stopped for now, and water levels on the main roads are receding because the corporation officials are trying to pump the water out from these areas. This is one of the main roads, the 100 feet road, but there is no power supply in this stretch. You can see that it's pitch dark because of waterlogging. Officials have cut off power from this particular place. There are 36,000 places where power supply has been cut off because of waterlogging, and it's not the first day. There are power cuts. There are frequent power cuts. Waterlogged areas continue for the 4th consecutive day because of incessant rains that began on Saturday. While in certain places water levels are receding, it's still a long way to go because there are many low-lying areas that are waterlogged for 4 days, and officials say that it's going to be a long process for them to clear water from many waterlogged areas, especially in the low-lying areas, including KK Nagar, Ashok Nagar, Velachery, Kolattur and T Nagar. But for the moment,
All right.
good news is that rains have stopped temporarily and red alert has been withdrawn for tomorrow.
Okay, the red alert for tomorrow has been withdrawn. The rains have subsided temporarily, but the story is the same. Waterlogged areas, rampant construction, clogged drains. Who is to blame for the mess that Chennai is under? Singara Chennai has become sinking Chennai. You can call us 01204341895 is our number. Call us and tell us, who do you hold responsible? It's the question that the Madras High Court asked a few days ago as well. What have you been doing to the Chennai Corporation? We'll be joined in a moment by TK Selangovan, DMK Member of Parliament and spokesperson. Vapu Gurendi is a former spokesperson of the AIDMK. S. Gopi Krishna Warrior is the managing editor of Mongabay.in. And R.K. Radhakrishnan is senior deputy editor with Frontline magazine. R.K., I'll start with you. It's a familiar story. In 2015 too, we heard the same, the fault lines were the same, the blame game continued, whether it was the clogging of the drains, desilting work not happening before the monsoon kicks in, whether it is the Adyar River, the Kuam River, the Buckingham Canal, all being clogged. It's the same story. It seems like nothing has changed. The only difference is this time around, we are seeing a more visible presence of the local administration from the Chief Minister downwards out on the streets, but the story is the same.
Absolutely true, Zaka. But the problem again is that we have had this extreme weather events very frequently. We have had it in 1995, in 2005, 2015, and probably we would have expected it to happen in 2025. It's already happened in 2021. This, as Purnima pointed out, on Saturday alone, we had something like 226 mm of rain falling down in Chennai without any warning from the meteorological department. And let us be very clear. Even with that constraint, we see that the corporation has performed, almost exceedingly well on that particular day. Today, of course, is a completely different story. Water has no place to go, and we have had something like 730 mm of rain already. You should remember, in 2015 November, the entire rain that came down was 1,049 mm, the entire month. And we are only on day 11 of November, and we already have about 730, 740 mm of rain. This is as of today. The other problem with Chennai is that, unlike, say, Hyderabad or many other cities, it is a very flat city. So, the highest that Chennai is about 7 meters from the sea level, and most parts, you would know, starting from Manali onwards to, Uttandi, the height, the mean sea level is only about 1.5 to 2 meters.
Yeah.
So it is impossible to pump out the water. Where do you pump out the water? What is the problem? I mean, you can't even have a stormwater drain. Where will the water go? So water courses are a problem. The other problem is the fact that the tanks have not been desilted. This has been a tragedy. This has been a story of corruption for the past 30 years. No tank in Chennai. The record, you will be very clear. I mean, desilting has happened and all of that. Everybody would have taken the money. But no desilting has happened in any tank in Chennai for the past 30 years.
No, one second. Where you say, where will the water go? The water would have gone into either the natural water bodies that exist, and Gopi Krishna Warrior is an expert on this, whether it's the Buckingham Canal, whether it's the Adyar River, the Kuam River. These are all the natural water bodies that Chennai has had. What has happened to them over the last 30, 40 years? There's been rampant construction, or there's been waste that's been dumped in these water bodies, and then you have marshlands like Pallikarnai. Everybody knows Pallikarnai is the biggest solid waste dump yard in the city. So while RK is right in asking where will the water go, this is where the water should have gone. Now, who is responsible for allowing this construction on the banks of these water bodies, these encroachments? Who is responsible for making Pallikarnai into a solid waste dump yard? Mr. Warrior.
Yeah, actually this has been happening for decades now. So it's very difficult to pin down blame on one administration or one political party or other. It's been happening for multiple decades, and it started with. I mean, Chennai should naturally have its flow because the rivers are blocked before they enter the city. So what should be flowing is the natural water that falls on the city, should be flowing out through the rivers. But then, unfortunately, the rivers have become dump yards over decades, and there's so much of solid waste in the rivers that rivers do not flow. Buckingham Canal, which actually intersects all the rivers, the 4 rivers, and connects us to Pallikarnai, and then through that outside to the sea. Buckingham Canal also has not been flowing for the past few decades now. And the MRTS, the Rapid Transport System, was literally built on top of the Buckingham Canal, so blocking the Buckingham Canal passage. So that has happened, and if you just look at recent history, 1999-2000 is the period when the tidal park was constructed on the OMR, and before that, any Chennaiite knows that OMR was a single lane, or at best a 2-lane road. And after that, the OMR turned into a 4-lane highway. And all that you see beyond the tidal park, all the way down, has happened since in this century. So obviously that has impacted the Pallikarnai marsh. I mean, from where the water should have been flowing, water should have collected and flowed out to the sea, and that has not happened. And the construction in Velacheri, again a low-lying area where water should have collected. That started in 1990s. 1990s the construction work in Velacheri started. So where is the water going to flow? Because Chennai, if you look at Chennai, old Chennai maps, you will have a whole series of cascading wetlands. Now almost all of them have been constructed over. Then the water flows very fast into Pallikarnai marsh, and there's no place to hold.
I want to go to the political spokespersons now. Mr. T.K. Elangovan is joining us. Mr. Pugarendi is on the line as well. Mr. Elangovan, the question that the High Court also asked a few days ago, asking the Chennai Corporation, as far as I can remember, for the last 30, 35, 40 years, the DMK has been controlling the corporation. Why are we not seeing a better plan? Back in the mid-90s, when Mr. Stalin was the mayor of Chennai, he came up with Singara Chennai. 25 years later, I don't know about Singara Chennai, but it's definitely sinking Chennai.
That's right. Today's position is very bad, of course. But because of the development in the southern part of Chennai, that is in the area near the Pallikarnai marsh and the old Mahabalipuram Road and other areas, there were many buildings which have come up now, houses, tall, high-rise buildings, because of the activities there in the OMR. The IT industries have grown up and many people have constructed houses. Maybe that is one of the reasons why the space has reduced. Maybe, and after that, 2015 was the worst affected floods in Chennai. But the then government said that they had spent 7,000 crores on rectifying all these things, but nothing has happened. After 2015, this is the first year, within 6 months after we had taken over as the government, this is the first time that we are facing it. But the Chief Minister is going around places, he is taking all steps, he is instructing all officials to take care of the local issues and see that the thing is restored.
That I mentioned, before you joined us, I mentioned the only difference between 2015 and now is this time the local administration is visibly out on the ground. We are seeing from the Chief Minister downwards how the administration is working. The question that I ask though, sir, is the corporation. You've controlled the corporation for the last many, many decades. Why is the corporation not doing anything? Some 2,600 crores have been sanctioned for Chennai City under Smart City program. Where is that money?
When we were in the corporation area was not this big. It was only 100 wards at that time. And now it has increased to 200 wards with the added places surrounding Chennai. At the outskirts of Chennai is also added. And the growth has taken place only in the outskirts of Chennai, like Cholinganallur, Velacheri, Pallikarnai, Thambram, in those areas. So this is an experience. We have to do something. I don't say that, I don't deny that it should have been done, but after 10 years of gap and we were in power in between for only 5 years, the remaining period was ruled by the government of the ADMK government. But I don't want to blame others.
Okay.
We are taking steps now.
Here is the thing. All the areas that you referred to, south of Velacheri, they were all low-lying areas. They were all supposed to be the natural sort of defense against water rising in the city. What has come up in the last 20 years there? Either housing colonies have come up, IT companies have come up, engineering colleges have come up, or special economic zones have come up. Now I want to ask, I want to ask the viewers, and through you, I want to ask everyone watching this program, For all of these four things, are politicians not taking money? Are corporators not making money? Are building lobbies not giving cuts to people? Mr. Pugarendi, you tell us. I mean, how can residential complexes, commercial complexes, IT parks, special economic zones, engineering and medical colleges come up in low-lying areas without somebody changing the master plan, without somebody changing, the rules and the bylaws? How does it come up overnight? It doesn't come up overnight like that.
Good evening, CNN News 18. Sir, so many areas in Chennai now have enough water to start the boating. That is the boating service, boat service everywhere. So many areas like this. Your question is very correct. Not only now, this is going on continuously. So my dear elder brother, Mr. Elangovan, sir, saying, we need a permanent solution. You have to do something now. Because blaming the government, see that the previous government, when I was with them, that ADMK government, or you believe or not, 6,744 crores allotted, only flood relief funds.
Where is that money, sir? Where is that 6,700 crores? It's all floating in Chennai, as you said. Boat service. Yeah. Boat service is happening.
You are correct, sir. Saga, that like water floating like that, money is gone. Completely looted. See that you take T-Nagar. You are mentioning all the areas very clear. The T-Nagar, smart city. They made a small city, smart city. Not only the beauty city, that's all. No drainage system, nothing. The correct answer, in India, the major city Chennai have no drainage facilities. So whenever time comes like this, heating and other problem, so that time this government people promising.
We are opening up our phone lines. We want residents in Chennai, other cities. By the way, this is not just a Chennai problem. You see this in Mumbai, you see this in Kochi, you see this in Kolkata, you see this in Delhi, you see this in any of our major cities. A small bout of rain and there is no stormwater drains, there is no water drainage system. We're opening up our call line. 0120-434-1895 is our number. Please call us, particularly if you're in Chennai. Please call us and tell us what your experience has been, because we have been getting instances of residents who have elderly people in their homes, people who have who are bound to medical care inside their homes. They have no access to either ambulances or other emergency services. Mr. Rajan is our first caller. He's calling us from Anna Nagar. Mr. Rajan, first of all, tell us what is the situation in your area, and who do you hold responsible for what is happening in Chennai?
This is happening. I am living in the city for more than 40 years.
Yeah.
See, the reason is both the politicians and the bureaucrats are not doing any work. They are only depend on taking the corruption. That's why this state is like that. Last 10 years, they have a master plan. In the master plan, they have never mentioned about the drainage and other things. That is why this happened. Once in 2015, Nirav Poil has spoiled like anything. After that, the central government also sanctioned 2,300 crores for the smart city. That also followed by these politicians. Not only politicians, the politicians was followed by the bureaucrats also. Both the bureaucrats and the politicians should be punished in a proper way. This country, this state won't prosperously.
No, look at the areas that have all been flooded. KK Nagar, MMDA Colony, Tank Bud Road, Ashok Nagar. Even the Marina Beach today is flooded. The last time there was water on the Marina Beach as bad as it is today was when the tsunami happened. And that is a different natural phenomena altogether. All I'm saying is all these areas, particularly in South Chennai, which were low-lying areas, how is it that all of these high-rises have come up there, from IT companies to commercial complexes, residential apartments, and so on and so forth? Look at the new airport terminal building, RK. The new airport terminal building is supposed to be on the banks of the Adayar River. That is how bad it is.
Yeah, it's actually in the catchment of Adayar. The runway, the second runway is actually in the catchment of Adayar. And it is just not that. I mean, it's not just the government agencies which are insensitive. It is that a whole lot of people, Gopi pointed out the case of the MRTS. We have shopping malls which have built walls right on the Kuam. We have a whole lot of setup across the city wherein encroaching into Kuam or encroaching into any of the water courses is not punished. I want to make particular reference to the 2015 flood, which was caused because the Chembarambakam Lake, the largest water body in Chennai, was released without any notice to the people of Chennai. So what happened at that point was that, people, about 400 people died in that incident. And who I held responsible some 5 IAS officers. But unfortunately, not one IAS officer was acted upon. Even 2 guys have already retired. 3 are still in service. The chief minister was supposed to release she is supposed to order the release of the, gates of the reservoir. That was very unfortunate.
Okay.
And even today, I think.
Just give me 1 second. I'm getting more callers. Our phone lines are ringing. It's off the hook. Surya is calling us from Chennai. Surya, tell us where you are and what is the situation around you?
I'm from Madavakam. I was born and brought up in Sairapet actually. So when I started school career in '83, so when in that time from always the same thing is happening almost 40 years, 42 years. I don't know what the politician is doing. They have a vision, or they don't. I don't know what is the bureaucrat they are doing it.
Okay.
All the time they are doing all minting money. Nothing else. 1 day, 2 day Photoshops they are doing it and photo then they are going out. Then they are giving just like that they are doing a relief first and they are going two days and after that that's no.
Okay, thank you very much for your call, Mr. Surya. Venkat Raman is calling us from Bangalore. Mr. Venkat Raman, like I said, it's not just a Chennai problem. Bangalore also has seen floods in this season. It's not been as bad as Chennai, that's all. Yes, Mr. Venkat Raman.
Not just Bangalore. Every city, major city where there is unplanned growth, we are seeing these kind of things happening. And rather than going back in who has done what, who hasn't done what, postmortems don't help. The best way to go forward is to solve this in a manner which is easy, commonsensical. We can take a leaf out of Tokyo, where the floodwaters of the river there are diverted into huge underground catchment tanks and then pumped out as and when required.
Okay.
It's a very simple solution which is available. Engineering is not very difficult. It just needs a proactive political approach.
All right, thanks very much, Mr. Venkatraman. Let's see if our politicians in Tamil Nadu take the cue from Tokyo. Dr. Ravi is joining us from Chennai. Dr. Ravi, where are you and what is the situation around your house?
I am in Manapakkam, but in 2015, entire house was underwater.
Okay.
So this situation, we are always afraid when the dam will be opened. So when you talk of encroachment, you should first start from Vallur Kotam. The Vallur Kotam, which is now there, is actually a water body.
Yeah.
Most of us have forgotten that a lake existed there. West Mambalam, Lakeview Road, you cannot view the lake anymore. So the subway becomes a lake. So this encroachment is a easy money making for the politicians who then come and change their party and then they say, it is the other government which did. But when you go and see what they have done, DMK will give contract to ADMK, ADMK will give contract to DMK, and this is what is happening.
Okay. Dr. Ravi, thank you for your call. He's right. There was a point in the 70s and 80s where Chennai had 600 water bodies. Today, it's less than 30. I'll give TK Silangovan the final word. What can be done now? It's not like you can go and raise down these IT parks or residential complexes. They are there. But then what is the solution?
We have to do something. We are working on it. See, every day CM is going and inspecting places and he's trying to find out what is the actual reason and for which he will definitely planning to bring out a solution because we have to protect our people.
Okay.
See, something has happened. The city the area has increased. The metropolitan it has become a metropolitan corporation with added areas from the suburban part of the Chennai,
city,
and there are growth in the suburban areas, which everybody see. But all this is not a reason. We have to protect, even we need growth. It was we who brought these IT industries in that area and we have to provide housing. But for the past 10 years, nothing has happened and we are working on it. We will do something.
We'll see how it plays out over the next 5 years. But clearly, the situation was an entirely avoidable one. Yes, it has rained. It has rained substantially, no doubt about it. But this level of waterlogging, the water just not finding any space to go, an outlet to go out into the sea, that was the exact same problem that happened in 2015. And the High Court is 100% right. What have you done for the last 6 years? That's a wrap. I'll catch you again at 9 p.m. with Brass Tacks.